Hey, 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 hey!
Hey, howdy.
I tell you what, those technical difficulties, man, they sometimes try to creep in and hurt us. But it happens sometimes, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Most definitely.
But we got to keep going, keep pushing, not worry about that stuff. How's you guys' week been?
An odd morning. The
Okay.
$1.7 billion thing didn't go off last night.
Oh, the 1.5, is that what it is? Is that what everybody talking about? I've been seeing people post. What would you do with 1.5 what is it, million or billion? I don't know. Billion. Okay, 1.5
yeah, they
billion.
said, well, they said once they take all it out, you actually would come home with 900 million.
Yeah. You know what? That's why I ain't gonna do it, because you know I'm only gonna end up with 900 million. So you know, that's too little. Hey, well, look, y'all ready to rock this show
they
out?
had Yes, go do it.
Cool. All right, we'll get into that. We'll talk about that some more here in a minute. And folks, it is November 8th, 2022. It is the Truth Be Told show. It's yours truly, Mr. Just As Joe. Better Days with Peter Hayes and Uncle Mishon, the one and only neighborhood agitator. Folks, let's go ahead and get it in.
All right, cue the music.
Cueing music.
Start the music.
Starting music.
And go.
It's the Truth Be Told show, where we place America first. Honoring those who America has forgotten. Listen in and unlearn to relearn. As we set the record straight. And now, your host of the Truth Be Told show, Mr. Just Ask Joe and Uncle Mishon.
Hey, folks, we are here. It is Tuesday. It is election day, baby. Let's go out here. Let's get it in, fellas. It's election day. Got to see if the fruits of the labor of spitting this conservatism has panned out any. What y'all think about today and election day?
Yeah, it is finally here. We've been talking about it. Everybody been engaging about it. The Democrats or the liberals been talking about it, but it's interesting. They talking about it. Don't go down the way that if they don't go the way that they decided that it need to go down. It's gonna be some chaos. It's gonna be some nothing. I mean, the craziness that I'm hearing from the liberals. Oh man, all you gotta do is listen to the liberal news, man. They already accepting defeat before it even get going. If it don't, it looks like it's about to go that way. They already talking about it's stolen. Russia done been interfered. China done got involved. I mean, they already started the conversation.
Man,
we ain't even got the joke yet.
Man, that's a trip. All these emotions. So what you're trying to tell me is there a sect of people that have a whole lot of emotions that they can't control? Is that what's going on?
Right.
I don't know.
It sounds like if they don't turn out the they think it's turned out, some emotions about to burst. They're gonna be busting all over the place.
Woo!
Does look like it's about to be a red. It looks like it's about to be a red sea. I tell you that.
Hey, I mean, I would say that with that in mind, a lot of people are just saying, you know what? I have adamantly voted down the line for one party in the 95 percentile my people have for over 50 plus years, and we still end up with officers' knees on neck. Maybe I should just try something different. Maybe. Just see what happens. Just see what happens. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what's going on. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, we have a event that's going to be coming up at the end of this month, and it is an amazing event. And we have someone here to talk about it. It's the Give 4th Annual International Holiday Blitz. And so with that being said, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on, even counselors there for all those emotions that are uncontrolled in the midst of these elections. There's going to be some counselors on deck to help you with those emotions. But this event is all about giving, helping you to get. And we want to bring forth an amazing sister who is always in the city. I mean, even when I don't expect to see her, I see her. I go to the World Fest, and I'm watching the live band, and boom, there she is up on stage introducing guests and stuff like that, because she's always in the midst of giving back. So without further ado, let's bring to the stage Miss Angela Jackson Brown. Sis, welcome to the Truth Be Told show. How you doing?
I am just so ecstatic to be here. How are you all? I hope you are well and vibrant and filled with the divine creative force of light that is upon us right now. I do not care what they do to us. They cannot take away our divinity and our purpose for being here today. The show must go on, as you all know.
Absolutely.
Amen. Hey, it's good to see you, sis. Glad to have you here to give us some insight and some conversation. Before we get started,
Uncle Misha, real quick, she said that if you look in the chat there, in the private chat, she said it would be good to see you too, but unfortunately, you have your camera muted, so we can't even say it's good to see you. Ew. But I'm just saying.
Hey,
saying. Well, I'm trying to start nothing. I was just, wondering where my beautiful, handsome brother, Uncle Michon's handsome face. That's all. I just thought the people
Uncle Michon has
the eye candy that we have going on here.
Yeah, Uncle Michon has a motto that, I like to be heard sometimes instead of being seen, because it distracts from what I'm talking about, everything. So, I stay, I've actually, I did Blog Talk Radio, and I really like the idea. Just stand behind the scene and just be heard. Let's listen, just be heard. But what I was going to say,
his face is too angelic. His face is too angelic and too
That's
glorious.
What I was thinking, because
you just can't look upon it. You
That's
just never
what I was trying to say. I was trying to say that his face is so illuminating, it lights up the world with his divine truth that he brings forth so eloquently.
Yeah. Well, that all that sounds good, but let me just put some props on you.
However,
as
I respect that, Uncle Michon.
You and I have been knowing one another for quite some time. As you and I discovered in talking, is that I've always seen you. I've always seen you around. But as I told you in our conversation, the good Lord told me not to engage you, okay? Because I know that Michon brings a heavy position sometimes. And I recognize that, sister, you are a heavy sister, okay? And God told me we don't need to be heavy at one another in the beginnings and everything. So I backed off. Remember I told you that, right? I had said that God literally told me to not engage you and let's let it go. Okay, just let it go. And I'm an obedient student. Okay, I'm very obedient. Okay, and it's not until Peter called me. Okay, And it was interesting, Peter, when you called me, because I had already been asked by Vanessa, who knows you. Vanessa is my good sister, who I have been rolling with for years. She's my big sister for a very long time. She had already invited me to be involved in everything with Angela, but at the time I got so much going on. But I thought it was like Providence or something that Peter came along and then asked to do the same thing. So, and then Angela called me, okay, and we just had a wonderful conversation. So yes, it's time going into 2023, Miss Angela. You and I are about to do some things. I'm going to just say that right now. So go ahead and tell us what you're talking about, this give thing that you got going on.
Well, first of all, I want to give thanks to the divine creator and all our ancestors whose backs we stand on, whose blood, flesh, and bones I represent their truth and that they exist. So we are carrying on the universal truth of divine giving, because I always was taught, I was brought up in the church, Pentecostal, Baptist. We went to all of them because my mother was like, if it's lukewarm, the creator would spit you out. So she was on fire with the truth. And obviously she passed it on to me. So this is all about an extension of our divine birth, ancestral heritage of being able to give, bring community together in celebration of life. Now, forgive, what does that look like? We have been doing our community outreach for over 17 years on both sides of the river. I do not let the river divide us because we already divided enough. So I am not going to let this natural bounty called the Ohio River be another division point. It is a point of actually coming together with our truth on both sides of this river. Our ancestors crossed, escaping the horrific treatment of slavery. They drowned in that river. Some of them, many of them successfully crossed that Ohio River into what they considered freedom, as well as the ability to get away from the oppressive force. So no, that river represents to me the truth that we existed in many ways, time periods, and travels and journeys through life. So it's a point of bringing us together. Give will be on the Kentucky side of the river. I do programs and I also live. I've had my farm here in Indiana for over 20 plus years, where we have been doing back to school giveaways, Kwanzaa programs, information resources that we provide in hands-on demonstrations, including, more importantly, supporting our families, our underserved communities. This November 25th and 26th at Creative Events Venue, which is at 2722 Critton Drive. That is exit 132, right off of the 65, a quarter of a mile. Once you get off the exit, do not blink. It will be on your right-hand side, right next to the BP. Just come around to the back where we have extensive parking, enter, and you will be greeted by our registration team that will be giving you a ticket for registering and coming out. You have the opportunity to receive many of our door prizes from my Queen Diva Self-Love, Self-Care baskets, which many people have received that I've given and they have purchased over the years, including many door prizes from Glamour Therapy to Uplands Restaurant. All the different local businesses are supporting this effort, including our sponsors, Republic Bank, Play Cousins, that is one of my partners, including OC Craig with Parks National Bank. We are giving you away literally hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of information and resources to empower each and every member of our community, no matter where they're at, from single to families. We will be giving you information, rent to own. Parks Bank, O.C. Craig will be doing that workshop, empowering families that would think they were not eligible. They do not realize when they do the math and they compare what it costs to rent versus what it costs to own, that they are in reverse. Actually, it will be cheaper to own. And we will help show you how, including how to access those thousands of dollars that are set aside for underserved communities. I have partnered with many, many resources to help get that done. And then we're going to have our plethora of activities for the children. Because you know, I'm all about my babies. My babies are the reason why I do what I do. Because of you young mothers and fathers, uncles, aunts, cousins that are in need of the resources of the information that our ancestors have given me, as well as many of you that I consider our council of elders that are here to help you along life journey. I feel I qualified enough at 63 to be able to do that. I've lived long enough on this earth to be able to navigate the waters of life and give you a few gems that I have collected in my life journey. And I am still collecting because I am a lifetime student. I learned from you all babies. I've learned how to use the smartphone from my 11-year-old grandson to doing Canva from my play cousins and Angela and my administrative assistants and all the people that have been there for me, including Lacrease Kid helping me with social media. So I learned from you all young folks to continue to navigate the waters of life. So I'm here not by myself. It's all about you. Peter Hayes has been a sponsor for years, working with me, getting the information out, providing resources to empower our community, as well as many of our sponsors that will be back with us. Again, it's about you, not me. It's about we. We are here because of each and every one of you that have realized as well as provided resources for this vision that has been given, not just to me, but all of us that share the vision, because many of us intersect with the vision that I have put forth and shared with everyone. Their mission is in alignment with my mission, just like yours, Miss Shawn, Uncle Miss Shawn, and Mr.
Hey,
Peter
Angela,
Hayes.
I want to say you're going to be back next week where we're going to really have you, and hopefully like to have you bring someone with you so you can engage and share exactly how they're going to be involved and everything. And it's interesting listening to you saying what you were saying. This past week, they had a reparations meeting in D.C. Okay, so I don't know if anybody heard about that, but I happen to know some guys said that they were there, and something that you specifically said, and I actually said this to them and said, our reparation doesn't necessarily need to come from our government. Our reparation needs to come from our Creator, and because of those who have already blood and everything has already been laid out there for us to receive. We just got to know how and go get it. You said that earlier, and I like how you said it. There's things already lined up in America, already lined up in our legislation, or things that are already there for us to go get what's ours. And I don't call that reparation. I call that inheritance. Okay. We have an inheritance.
Right on.
We have an inheritance as this country. We need to, and I'm going to reemphasize, we got to know how to go get it. And so I like what you're talking about, the idea of us all working together and accomplishing that. I look forward to you coming back next week and everything. And please bring someone with you, okay, that's going to be part of your program that can engage us and be part of this. And have you voted already?
I just want to say real quick, I push voting. I am not able to. I am a British UK citizen. Your government has not given me that right, although I've been here for over 20 years.
Me hear that.
So as a UK citizen, I have participated in your voting process, including canvassing both in New York and Florida, door to door, old fashioned style, telling our people, our communities to get out and come out and vote, including going with my husband, my family. We have taken van loads of people to the polls. And I've also helped take your votes when you do a paper ballot,
right,
as well as push not just about voting, but understanding the necessity, because our ancestors' blood, sweat, and tears paid for that right. And in terms of reparation,
right,
saying, this is reparation. Reparation comes in many forms. I'm not sitting back waiting for anyone to give me anything. The Creator has given us the breath of life. He's given us a mind and the ability to think and use our God-given mind to create with our two hands a way to sit at the table and be able to reap as well as sow the seeds for us to be able to not survive but to thrive. And that's what Give Us all about. Teaching you how to catch the fish, clean the fish, scale it, skin it, gut it, fry it up, take a bite for yourself, and then turn around and learn how to create your own wealth. Sell the fish sandwich, sell the apple pie, sell the sweet potato pie, because that's where I come from. That's what my mother taught me how to do, to go out and catch the fish, create a way to engage in this great capitalistic system that was built on our sweat, blood, and tears. And that's why I'm about the total holistic approach, connecting land, which our ancestors soil created, this rich soil without GMOs, genetically modified organism, because you know I'm all about the natural, organic way that indigenous cultures for thousands of years have created rich nutrient soil that we ate from, plant-based, including cattle that was grass-fed, understanding that we need to go back and fetch that what was lost, Sankofa, and bring forth a new paradigm.
Absolutely. Angela, real quick before you go, she's a sister from the motherland by way of Jamaica as well. So
I'm from Yard, but I'm part of the Maroon people.
That's from the yard as well.
Hey, listen. The Maroons.
Absolutely. Tell the people real quick before you go, just give them a quick, the event, the date, you know, how they can get tickets or what they need to do in order to attend, real quick.
Again, November 25th, 26th, Friday kicks off Black Friday holiday around the country with a buying spree where we are having vendors, marketplace, local, as well as all kinds of services, products, services, including rent to own, green power smoothies. I will be showing you how to live in tune and harmony with our Queen Diva Tea Party. We'll be having by our divine, beautiful sister, Vanessa, the hostess with the mostest.
And where's it at again?
We'll be at 2722 Critton Drive, creative events venue from noon. That is noon until 9 p.m. We'll be having a plethora of entertainment by the Mighty Shades of Ebony, the Lionhearts, which is a youth social eco advocacy hip hop group.
And you'll be seeing more of her, folks, because she'll be making the rounds. Just as she was on the Tipping Point show this past Saturday, she'll be making the rounds with some people that will be at the event for you to see. She'll be making the rounds next Tuesday on Truth Be Told show, as well as the Tipping Point show Saturday before. So, sis, we appreciate you, and we cannot wait to get with you next week as well. Thank you so much.
Peter Hayes and Uncle Michon are also contributors, and they'll be on the panel for justice, liberty, and advocacy as my sponsors. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Once
Thank
again,
you so
and
much,
I'll be
sis.
bringing on a guest next week.
All right, folks.
All
Y'all
right.
heard it right
Appreciate
here
you,
first.
sis.
And
Peace,
it's a free event with
All
just
right.
a can of food is all I need. And if you don't have a can of food, just come anyway. I want you
All right.
to bring your tribe, your families.
Absolutely,
All
folks.
righty.
Bring your tribe. We'll see you next week, sis.
Thank you.
Peace,
Have
queen.
a beautiful,
Bye-bye.
blessed day.
All right. I remember sitting down at dinner with her and a few other special people for a birthday, and we talked about that Jamaica connection there, which is just so special when you go around the world and you find that connection. As a yard boy, man, I hear that. So, folks, next up we've got brother past mayoral candidate. All right. We're going to go to commercial real quick, but past mayoral candidate Timothy Finley is going to be here with us to chop it up about the elections, who will win Congress and Senate. We'll talk about McGarvey versus Stewart Ray for Congress. We'll talk about Greenberg versus, I don't even know how to enunciate his last name.
Bill.
DeRuff? Only you can prevent forward fires. We'll be talking about that up next right here on the Truth Be Told show, folks. Again, we will be right back.
Thank you, Truth Be Told, for allowing God's Lives Matter to be a sponsor. Wearable products, as the purple t-shirt, is bearing witness. Every life created by God has infinite value. Visit God'sLivesMatter.com.
I don't need to sit at your table. We building one. We in the process of building a table. We building a table. I don't gotta sit at your table. I'm building my own table, and I will build you a table in the presence of your enemies.
Habibi Trading Company, home of soap, sticks, and Saya Baba products. Over 400 locations at a store near you. Cincinnati, Ohio, Louisville and Lexington, Kentucky, Southern Indiana, or find yours online at sayababa.com. Again, that's sayababa.com. Habibi Trading Company, where you can find fragrances to incite your senses.
Hey folks, check out healthdaddywoww.net. 100% plant-based herbs and supplements. Whether you're in person or online, use the word tipping for 10% off. Remember, feel better, look great, healthdaddywoww.net. Remember, healthdaddywoww.net.
All right, cue the music.
Cueing music.
Start the music.
Starting music.
And go.
It's the Truth Be Told show, where we place America first. Honoring those who America has forgotten. Listen in and unlearn to relearn. As we set the record straight. And now, your host of the Truth Be Told show, Mr. Just Ask Joe and Uncle Michon.
Hey, folks. Again, it is November 8th, 2022. It's election day. And guess what? I just want to remind you guys, because I didn't say it before in the beginning of the show, that this is the only November 8th, 2022 that you will ever get in your life. So you better make sure that you make today a great day. So, without further ado, looks like Uncle Mishon has a couple of technical difficulties. He'll be right back. But without further ado, folks, we want to bring to the stage another brother from another mother here. This is past mayoral candidate, activist, community leader, a pastor who it's been so awesome to actually have witnessed his pastoral path in this city. I always think back when I was trying to buy his green Jeep Cherokee from him years ago, was when I first met him. But with that being said, folks, we want to bring this brother to the stage to chop it up with us here on the Truth Be Told show. Brother Timothy Finley, y'all know him, Tim Finn, right here on the Truth Be Told show, folks. Come on up, brother, to the stage here.
What's going on, my brother?
Yes, sir. Welcome, family. Welcome to the stage here with the Truth Be Told show. And we appreciate you joining us for this conversation. And, this conversation about today and the candidates and all that good stuff. And we're going to kind of jump right in here. Anything I want to say anything before we jump into this conversation about Congress and Senate?
Hey, welcome to the show. This is Sean, man. How you doing, man?
Absolutely.
I'm doing well, man. Thank you all. Always a pleasure. Wish I could have got back on. Was it last week? Had some scheduling conflicts, but excited to be a part of the show today.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So have you already voted?
I have. I actually voted on Saturday.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I went down to the Center for African American Heritage and wanted to make sure I knocked it out.
Yeah. Well, I went and got the papers today. I wanted to see what the papers were saying and everything. And the USA Today paper, the first day, it says what to expect if the GOP takes Congress and everything. So there's a lot of conversation about is Kentucky go red with the mayor? The mayor, what's your takes on that? Is Greenberg, going to take it, or is it going to be, is it going to be Bill Deere? Where y'all take on that?
Well, I'll be honest. I think one of the unique things, and it's not just specific to Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, but here we have to think about obviously the bigger picture. We have to think about,
right.
Louisville is a blue city, yes, but Kentucky is a deep red state. And we know that the Republicans already have a supermajority in Frankfort. And I know that they certainly want control of Louisville. The challenge that I've had, I wrote an article for the upcoming State of Black Louisville. And in the article, the title of it is Black Folks Need to Socially Distance from Democrats and Republicans. And what I meant by that was not simply, certainly not to vote, but I think we need to go candidate by candidate. Yes. But with that being said, we understand the Republicans in Kentucky are a different breed. So that has to very much impact the decisions that we make, both from a micro and a macro perspective. The mayor race in Louisville, again, I was in the race. I had some back and forth with Craig Greenberg. And I think for me, the reason why I came out and essentially endorsed Craig Greenberg was knowing both the behind the scenes, having conversations with both, knowing who's behind each candidate, realizing that I had issues with certain platforms with both. But doing what we've had to do for a long time, and we can have a conversation about it, but really sort of picking, in my estimation,
lesser of two evils.
the lesson, and that's essentially what it came down to. Now, I think the race could be much tighter than what people think, because there seems to be a little bit more presence or more intentionality with the other candidate in certain communities. So I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. Very interesting.
Absolutely, absolutely. Uncle Me, Sean, Better Days with Peter Hayes. What's your thoughts on that?
Go ahead, Peter. I'm gonna let you jump in there.
Yes, because Peter, you are the global representative for all things bright and white, right?
Yeah. Tim, welcome to the program. Nice to see you again. Yeah. Just so you know, I've been appointed by the UN as the global spokesperson for all white people.
Nice. What a prestigious honor.
So we kid, any question you ever wanted to ask, just fire away. But yeah, also my history, I ran from.
I gotta throw Peter before you go. I gotta throw this in. Peter, I gotta throw this in there. His whiteness has also gotten us thrown off a few things or two with everything. So it ain't all been good.
Yeah, he has no privilege. It's I don't know what's going on there. We brought him to the show for privilege, and it didn't work. Go ahead, Peter.
It ain't all been privilege. That's for damn sure. Go ahead, Peter.
Well, I agree with Tim. I think the race for mayor is going to be a little bit closer than typically. Louisville is a Democrat city compared to the rest of Kentucky. But Bill Duroff has done a good job of outreach in some of the communities, like Tim saying, that sometimes the Republicans shy away from. West Louisville, South End. Obviously, to win, you got to win over Democrats and independents, because the numbers are about 65 to 35. So, I guess, looking at it, even though I'm a registered Democrat, I mean, our city's been run by the one party political machine for 6 years now. So I think mixing it up a little bit is good, because, as you know, when those city workers and leaders get entrenched, as they have been, you don't see a whole lot of change. So I don't know. I'm leaning towards voting for Bill Duroff today myself. Greg Greenberg, I've met him and on the campaign trail, and he is what he is. I guess one thing very interesting that has come up, the whole thing with Quintez Brown and the controversy over whether he knew Quintez Brown and all that. And Timothy, I think I talked to you. Well, I think we talked to you during the primary. It's surprising nobody has really pushed that issue more so, even though on the street, and especially in the African American community, there's a lot of buzz over that.
Well, I guess a few things. I think on this day, I'm not going to go into that for this reason. And the reason why, for me, Bill Duroff can't be a viable option is for several reasons. Again, I know Bill Duroff. He actually gave me an award during 2020. I came out to J-Town and received it, and wore my Black Lives Matter shirt and gave a speech. The issue for me, it's who's with Bill Duroff. And again, we can say that in terms of the political machine, the families, the money, all of that with Craig Greenberg, sure. But when you talk about Rand Paul on stage with Bill Duroff, when you talk about Mitch McConnell having a heavy hand and wanting to see Bill Duroff as mayor, when you talk about the Republican agenda in Frankfurt as it relates to education and how they absolutely want to fundamentally change, the way our kids are educated, even more so. When you talk about policing, all these, even economics, You're not simply getting good old guy, change it up. Yeah, he's a old folksy kind of guy. You're getting everything behind him. And for me, a vote for Bill Durham is supporting that Republican agenda, Kentucky-wise, that I think is dangerous, specifically to Black people.
What do you feel is the Republican agenda in Kentucky?
Yeah, in Kentucky, I think the Republican agenda is to number one. I think that it does damage to an already issue-laden education system. I think that they are very much, circling this idea that we need to take history out of the school and sort of push this ultra white, ultra bland sort of understanding of history. I think that is 100% something that's going on. I think from an economic standpoint, these Kentucky Republicans are hell-bent on...
How about on education? Because they also promote school choice, which is very popular in the African American community, because parents, are not satisfied. They're kind of stuck in the public education. So why not empower every parent with a voucher so they can decide on a Christian school or a Catholic school or a Montessori school or a public school?
Well, I'll say this: school choice is popular for some, but I don't know if people understand the implications of school choice. And again, if you look at Louisville and you look at how segregated our city is and where the balance of money lies, I'll give you a perfect example. When they released the new plan, the school, I can't remember the name of it, Lord. I went to the presentation and all that good stuff. But anyway, where they were revamping that school choice plan, all of that. If you remember it on paper, it looked pretty good. There were some challenges that I think they needed to overcome. After presenting that, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 2 weeks after presenting it, there were affluent communities, whiter communities that were upset about the way that it was sort of laid out, and in many ways balanced things that had been not balanced in the past. And JCPS was under pressure by those areas and those communities to change it. And a lot of that, again, it comes from those affluent, in many ways heavy Republican pockets in Louisville that have influence. And I think when it comes to education and school choice, some things, it sounds good.
Well, that plan by Jefferson County, and I attend to, it wasn't a school choice plan, because it was just rearranging public education. True school choice means that parents get a voucher and they decide where to spend their money in a government school, which my kids went to, or they could do a Christian school, a Catholic school, a Montessori school, and it really creates competition. One thing we know in economics, if you don't have competition, quality goes down and price goes up. So
yeah, Peter, it was school choice though, because it was definitely around that. But the point that I was making as well is, if you have an area like the West End, who has, you have the 9 neighborhoods in the West End, you have Newburgh, you have marginalized communities where there is obviously a lack of funds, a lack of economic opportunities that are hitting brick walls into getting into those communities. And it's not by choice of residents. It is policy. It is past, systems that are in place that have caused what we see today. You don't automatically get these high achieving schools in economically starved areas. And what will happen is that areas that have typically benefited because there is money coming in, and there is, we're arguing about grocery stores in the West End when you have other areas that are getting, their 20th grocery store, whatever the case may be. Those areas are not simply going to, all of a sudden have these wonderful schools. Just because you have the opportunity to do something on paper, it doesn't mean it's going to flesh out. And that, to me, is the challenge, is because we're often given this wonderful proposal that says, hey, you can do this and you'll have this. But all these other things are connected as well. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So I want to jump in here because as a person who's not from this area and married in and married my wife, and she's wanted to live in the West, and we, retired military, surgical technologists, make decent money. We could have lived anywhere, and my wife wanted to live where her family was living in the West End community. That was like 25 years ago, and we bought our home off 40th Street. My wife met me as a conservative. I've always been nothing but a conservative. I've never registered as a Democrat. I've always been a conservative. So I lived among a community deep in the heart of a Democratic ran environment. And this is all I'm going to say. What I witnessed and experienced in my always been a conservative man was not good in the leadership that I've seen from the Democratic leadership so far in the whole time that I've lived in this city. And I can testify to that. When you buy a home at 45.5 25 years ago, and you get praised for 90, and you get the equity and fix your home up, and then 25 years later, you try to sell that house and you sell it for $39.9, okay, because the violence and the crime, the things that has occurred, that's called to me decaying and not measurable, okay? And so I have to look for something different. So I moved my family and everything out of that. And so I am looking for a conservative conversation as there in this city, solely because I think we need something different. I witnessed and seen 25 plus years of a Democratic leadership. Everything tells me to continue doing the same thing, okay, and expecting something to change. I'm not that stupid, okay? I know that I have to do something different to get different results. So that's where I stand at.
Now look at this comment here by Esoteric Concepts. One shouldn't depend on the public school to educate our children on our culture. That's a slave mind. Leaving it to your oppressors to educate your kids, that's an oxymoron. So with that being said, when we look at this whole school, because I agree, education, we're at the bottom of the list in America among every other organized country around the world when it comes to math and science. So everyone always says America gets what they want, right? We're a superpower, right? So they get what they pay for, what they want. So they've paid for this poor educational public system. Right. And one of the things that people got mad at, let's say Trump for, was pulling money from different educational platforms and things of that nature. But the ideology was, look, is what's going on right now is not working. So why keep putting money and dumping money into something that's not working? We need to focus on revamping it and move this money somewhere else. But when you look at the ideology of us as a people and being taught by why are we not moving more towards homeschool than anything else, and allowing ourselves? Why isn't that the conversation to say, hey?
Can I answer that? Because I want to make sure that if that comment is great, and I absolutely agree. I came from a household that I was taught my history by my parents, no question. And I was never put in a position to go to school to learn about my history. In many ways, when I make the assumption, or I make the statement rather, about history being taught in school and all that stuff, I'm not talking about Black kids. A part of the challenge in this country, I remember and again, this is just, again, my own personal opinion. I think that there are certain things that perpetuate racism because you have little white kids in this school who are under the impression and, don't understand. You have kids that are in college who had never heard of Black Wall Street. It's not a part of history, or they're only taught about Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and Rosa Parks. And I'm saying that agenda in Kentucky is even wanting to eradicate that. So I'm not, whatever slave mentality is being, certainly if you're sending your kids to Moore High School or Male High School or Butler to learn Black history, and that's the only place they're hearing that, absolutely. I'm just simply saying there's a reason why I would go to those school board meetings during the summer in 2020, and those parents were having conniption fits because they did not want little Johnny to be subject to any kind of real history that may impact his rose-colored perspective of American history. So I want to put that there. To your point, when it comes to homeschooling, I'm certainly not against that, but I think that those who are doing the homeschooling need to be able to do the homeschooling so that those kids are prepared. Now, again, if it's subjective and if you as a parent say, I'm going to school my kids and whatever the case may be, and you decide this is what they need to know and this is what they're prepared for. And I think, okay, that's fine. But
so wouldn't the closest thing to that in this day and age be the ability to have a voucher to send your kid to a school of your choosing or your choosing? Wouldn't that kind of be the closest thing to it right now?
For homeschooling?
I mean, that would be the closest thing to homeschooling, because right now, in this day and age, two parents have to get out. They got to go to work. They may not have the opportunity to work from home and homeschool, but a voucher giving them the opportunity to say, hey, I can go and research and find a school that makes sense for my child more so, and have a voucher to be able to go there and do so. That's kind of the closest thing to it, which is something on the Republican platform.
Well, no, I'm saying that sounds great. I'm not discounting that at all. I'm just, and maybe, this is just more of a personal thing. I'm just skeptical because I have a hard time believing if you're not fixing and dealing with all these other things, that suddenly I'm supposed to trust that, this voucher system and this, is just going to suddenly work. I think that for me, I'm not totally against it, but I need to see more of a plan on how it will work and how it will benefit inequitable areas. And to my brother, Mishwan, I want to say something about what he said, because I agree. I don't think we're disagreeing on anything. And this is why I'm very much one that I'm not happy with the Democratic Party in Louisville at all. And I've been very vocal about it. I've said things to them that they didn't necessarily like. But I also understand that there are other things. I can't find myself on the side with a Mitch McConnell and a Rand Paul who have not demonstrated that they have any sort of understanding of what Black, brown, marginalized women really need, and we can't continue to put somebody doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, that different definition of insanity. How long has Mitch McConnell been in office?
Yeah, but don't you think that the clear definition of, and I'm sorry, guys, I'm jumping, but don't you think that the clear definition of insanity would be voting in the 95 percentile Democrat all the way down the line for over 50 plus years
and getting no result,
ending up in the same position, officers knees on necks, disrespect in the public eye of our brightest and best, even with what's going on with Kyrie and Ye, just the level of disrespect for having an opinion. Voting in the 95 percentile Democrat, that is a true definition of insanity, and we have been made an insane people with trauma due to our past, and here we are continuing to do the same thing. I personally, I'm gonna just blindly vote Republican down the line, like we blindly voted Democrat down the line. Would that be the same?
But that's my point. I'm with you. I understand the whole voting as a block. We are not disagreeing on that. But if we turn around and say, you know what, we've been voting as a Democratic block, that ain't working. So now we're going to blindly vote as a Republican block. It's the same thing. That's why I'm advocating.
No. Yeah. Well, I disagree. I disagree with that. I disagree with that. That it's the same thing. Not when you move, when you literally have to make someone respect you. Okay. When I had the conversation, how I became a conservative, I spoke to Mitch McConnell straight up. When I got out of the military, I spoke to Mitch McConnell and I came straight to him and I said, look at here. I'm hearing that the Republican, because, I'm not from here. I said, I hear the Republican and you the head of the Republican Party. And I hear that y'all don't seem to care anything about the Black community. And I said, and I was the only one in the room, okay, that looked like me. And I've been this way ever since I've been there. I say my piece no matter where the hell I am. I don't give a damn who's in the room. And I said to Mitch, I said, don't BS me. I want to know why is it that the Republican Party do not seem to give a damn about the Black community and put no money? Let me tell you what he told me, man. I mean, whether you like it or not, he said something that I could not say he was not telling the truth. The man said to me, look me in my face, and he said, it's not advantageously for us to invest money into people who doesn't seem to respect themselves right now. They haven't even decided to make the Democratic Party respect them, okay, to make them do right by them, okay? He said, so we're not going to throw money to people who don't seem to know how to get respect where they at, okay? Why are we going to do that, okay? Why are we going to do that? Now, you might think that was harsh. That sounds pretty harsh, right? But you know what?
No, I don't. No, it doesn't seem harsh. It seems American.
It goes back to the very same thing. It goes back to the very same thing. It wasn't. He didn't BS me. He didn't. I necessarily didn't have to like what he said, but he said to me, "We're not going to spend no money at throwing no money to people who doesn't seem to get no respect from the Democratic Party." Why we
listen, I thought your story was going to help your point. Lord, your story helped my point.
No,
he said, my point. I want to hear I just want to make sure I'm not confusing or conflating. Mitch McConnell told you, why would they invest in the Black community when the Black community won't invest in themselves? Essentially.
That's exactly right. Basically. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also also in the political world.
That's hard, isn't it?
No, it's not just hard. That's respect. That's what sometimes what we engage in, and it's called respectability politics. It's like saying, young man, you will be treated like a human if you pull your pants up. Well, as much as we all hate the sagging, guess what? You are a human if you are butt naked. And the problem is, in this country, that shows the lack of understanding. It shows the callousness. It shows the inequities and why these things persist. When we simply allow folks in power to say, yeah, we disenfranchised you. Yes, for 400 years it's been this. Yes, we did countless things from Jim Crow to deconstruction to chattel slavery. But guess what? We still ain't gonna do this until y'all do this. That is the epitome of the issue.
But
isn't there a point at which here's a pickle with that, and that's why even though I'm a registered Democrat, I tell my African American descent American friend, if I was an African American, I could never vote for the party of slavery, KKK, and Jim Crow, which is the Democrat Party.
No, but hold on.
Honor your ancestors like that.
But Peter, the Barry Goldwater situation, you understand how that came about. I think that's not a good point. And that's a talking point of Republicans many times, but we know why things changed in the 60s. And it's not to say I'm not pro-Democrat, I'm not pro-Republican. I'm saying it's candidate by candidate, but we cannot dismiss history. And there's a reason why Blacks migrated from from Republican to Democrat. There's a reason for that. And what I don't like, and
infiltration.
It's called infiltration.
Was it a good reason?
I think we have to be careful treating Black people as a monolith, as if we are so small-minded that we're just led into every. I mean, I think that's a white superiority, and I'm not saying this about you, Peter. You know I love you. But I think that what we do, we sort of push this agenda that's not true. You know, I'll tell you this much. I said this to the Democrats. I said, by and large, and I have no way of necessarily proving this, but I think we would all agree. My parents, grandparents are extremely conservative in their political views. Very much so. Black, again, I just talked about being a monolith, so I don't want to go down that road, but I would venture to say that many older or stable Black people are conservative. The reason why, though, they continue to vote Democrat, it is not simply because, we're just so silly and so small-minded, we don't know the difference. It's because Republicans are viewed as racist. Look at Ron DeSantis in Florida.
But that's a lie. That's a lie. It's a lie.
But no, but I'm saying
it's a lie.
But the view is there. So I see what you're saying when you say the view is there. They're viewed as Republicans.
Again, hear me out.
I mean,
I'm not saying all Republicans are racist. I'm not saying that there aren't.
He's saying the view is there, and ultimately they need to change their view.
I'm saying, for instance, I was a John Kasich fan. I wanted John Kasich to become president, and he's a Republican. What I'm saying is the people that they trot out, your Ron DeSantis, who's definitely going to run for mayor, and run for president. Look at the things that he's done during COVID and beyond. The things that he's done in Florida is unbelievable. The Donald Trumps, January 6th, and he's going to run again, and there's a good chance he's going to win. These individuals are not helping certain views of the Republican Party. And that's why I'm saying, again, we cannot vote just in blocks for Democrats.
This is why
I had a great time in Miami on the beach during COVID.
Say it again.
I said I had a great time in Miami on the beach during COVID.
And that's why Black people at 3 times the rate died of COVID, because we didn't have good health care before COVID.
Look at this comment right here. Me showing. Look, you'll appreciate this comment too, me showing. Esoteric Concepts, he says, you're not happy with them, so why are you staying with them? Are you choosing the lesser of two evils? Y'all been doing that shit since the 60s. You haven't learned yet. Y'all new age, parentheses, under 40, don't know shit, and you don't want to listen to the elder from the 60s. Same shit, no change, Democratic talking points.
Good thing I'm not. I'm over 40.
Yeah, exactly.
First of all, I'm over 40. And number 2, I'm gonna say it one more time. I just wrote an article for the State of Black Louisville that's coming out that says we need to socially distance from Democrats and Republicans. We need to look at race by race, because while we talk about the mayor and the senator, guess what? The judges are extremely important. It's nonpartisan. All these city council, school board, I'm saying it has to be race by race. So nobody's saying, and I don't know if I'm making it clear.
Race is in election race.
Election race. It needs to be race by race. Yeah, it needs to be candidate by candidate.
And me showing I think that's a point that we can agree on, right? Because
we can agree on that.
Us being registered independents and then letting the parties pander to us. And focus on who's going to make us as a community better, and then move forward as a unit from that independence, right?
Yeah, that's what is right for us. I've always said, even though, in Philly, I want to let you know something, Tim. I've been what is right for us, right? That's right. I've been a registered Republican since I city, and after I had that conversation with Mitch McConnell. But let me tell you what happened, bro, so you can understand. Once they realized that I was an outspoken conservative brother and everything, I had all the Republicans come to me trying to get me to, come stand with them. And this is what they quickly discovered. And this is why I say you can't get nothing done unless you're in the inside. Okay. I was inside, but I personally told each and every one of them, unless you willing to address the issues that I'm concerned with, don't bring your ass my way, asking me to sign up and take pictures with you, okay, if you're not willing to do the things and I'm requesting you to do, okay? And so I was very adamant about specific things that I wanted them to do, and they never did it. And so I started calling them out. I said, I'm not here because I'm a Republican. I'm here because I'm a conservative. So this is where I'm going to speak to you about something. You don't have to be a Republican to be a conservative, okay? You don't have to be a Democrat to be a liberal, okay? You got to learn how to, you got to be able to make decisions that are conservative to your decisions and with your lifestyle. That's what I've been doing. And I made them clear to understanding that I may be registered at a Durham Republican, but I make conservative decisions that makes difference for me, okay? And if you're not doing what I'm asking you to do, you do not. How I used to hold them is that I would not stand with them. I will not walk them. They wanted me to, okay, and I wouldn't, okay. I said, because you will not use my face, and that's why I wanted my man to put that picture up. We got people who will allow their face to be used with the Democratic Party, who have not served their interests, man. Do y'all hear me? You should stop these Democratic people using your face, and you ain't getting nothing for it.
Now you know, some of those individuals, you know, I mean, all of those individuals I know, you know, Dr. Bruce, Charles, Morgan, and Fred. But here's the same thing, and I agree with you. Everything you said, I can't disagree with at all, and I appreciate you saying that. I'm simply saying that it's no different than Herschel Walker. Are they not using Herschel Walker?
Not exactly, bro. Not exactly.
I would say the two political mafias.
You're right. Don't get me wrong. You're right. But there's something very specifically different about Herschel Walker than what my point is. Okay, and the key that so many of us don't understand the difference between allowing yourself to be used to get what you want versus just allowing yourself to be used just so you can be said, I'm in the in crowd. There is a big difference, okay?
There's a huge difference.
There's a huge difference.
But I'm gonna tell you this way.
Okay?
I think there's a huge difference, for instance, going back to the mayoral race. There's a big difference between Craig Greenberg and Bill Durham.
Oh no, big difference.
Look,
and
huge difference
based on conversations.
Yeah, one likes little black boys and the others doesn't.
Say it again.
One likes little black teenagers and the other doesn't.
Well, I wouldn't be so sure. What are you talking about?
Hey, well, Peter likes to drop bombs and stuff like that. And he said this before that there was something going on behind the scenes as far as he's concerned.
Yeah, and that you know, there's one thing to bring up salacious rumors and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I don't know nothing about that. But I do know this. Some of the things that I have personally talked to Bill Durham about, I am not comfortable him being mayor at all. And I'm saying this not simply from a political standpoint. I'm saying from just as a black man, he represents a different era than me. And let's
take a look at this video real quick. WLKY about the Bill Durham versus Greenberg situation.
The gloves
and
came
out.
Have
to go on Charles Booker too. We can't get Rand Paul.
Democrat Craig Greenberg.
After months of trying to avoid controversy, the two went at each other today at a debate sponsored by the Louisville Forum. WLKY's Mark Vanderhoff was there and explains the new friction.
Right out of the gate. In his opening remarks, Democrat Craig Greenberg sought to link Republican Bill Durham with people and issues that are not popular with many Louisville voters. Durham fired right back.
As mayor of J-Town, Bill had a proposal that would give, in response to a mass shooting several years ago, that would give everyone a free concealed carry permit and would flood our streets with guns. I believe we need to do everything possible to crack down on illegal guns and have fewer guns on our street.
As usual, public safety was a top issue. But at this meeting of the two candidates, their answers were different than usual.
When we start talking about guns, the problem is guns aren't the solution. It's the person committing the crime that we have to go after. He wants to go after the gun. I want to arrest the cartel leaders and the gang leaders and get them off the street.
One reason for the heat might be this new TV ad out this week. It was paid for by a super PAC linked to Republican Senator Mitch McConnell.
The most partisan person in America is looking to take over our city government, Louisville city government. First, he came for the Supreme Court, and now he's coming after the Louisville city government.
Mitch McConnell isn't buying this race. Mitch McConnell is a part of a PAC that he keeps bringing up. Mitch is not part of this race. This is a mayor's race.
There is also Greenberg's recent TV ad calling Deeriff too extreme on the abortion rights issue. One audience member asked, what does abortion have to do with city government?
If it's not a local issue, why have right-to-life organizations across Louisville and Kentucky been endorsing local officials for 20 years?
Greenberg has pledged not to use city resources, such as LMPD, to enforce Kentucky's statewide abortion ban. Deeriff says the state medical board would enforce the abortion ban, not the city.
A mayor should never, ever tell his police to stand down. That's following the same thing that's going on right now. So he is following the establishment that's in power right now, telling your police to stand down. That's scary.
Strong disagreements that are likely to get stronger as Election Day gets closer. Mark Vanderhoff, WLKY News.
Yeah, that's scary that Greenberg is going to selectively enforce certain laws. I mean, you can disagree with it, but a mayor's got to enforce all the laws of the state. Otherwise, you can't just say, well, I'm going to pick, A, B, but I'm not going to enforce C and D. That's kind of ridiculous. That's very scary, in my opinion.
I just want to know who these gang leaders are.
What's that?
I just want to know who the cartel and gang leaders are that we're going to start going after and enforcing.
Yeah, they're here in Louisville. I mean, they're here big time.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I get it on its face.
For a fact they're here.
Yeah, I know that they're here, you all. What I'm saying is
I know
that usually that is also a dog whistle for we're going after these high crime areas. Of course, the high crime areas are where?
So
in your reasons for saying that is why?
Because instead of dealing with the economic issues in those areas where there's high crime, we want to send the police in there to do even more policing, not addressing the root cause, but it's the same thing.
Yeah. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, Timothy, one thing we've said on
the economic disparity.
Yeah,
you're talking about because of that disparity.
Hey, Uncle Michon. Let's let I want to hear from Peter real quick because he hasn't spoken.
Go ahead, Peter.
Peter, what's your words?
Yeah, I'd say one thing we've been hitting hard on the Truth Be Told show is the importance of the 2-parent, 3-generational family as the cause of a lot of poverty in America, and
the breakup of.
Yeah, the breakup of the 2-parent family. And so, actually in the research I've done and taught on this for 40 years is that, strong families create strong economies. So when you look at the poverty rates in America, the myth that white people are number one, well, that's false because Asian Americans are the wealthiest group. They have the highest education level. They're number one. European Americans are number two. Hispanics are number three. And then African Americans number four. Well, look at the children out of wedlock rates. Asians are at 17%. European Americans at 31%. Hispanics at 55%.
And Black fathers are the most committed to their children of all of the groups you just talked about. The myth of
they're not marrying their kids.
Statistically, it's fact that the myth of the absent Black father is a racial trope that Black fathers show up. They just may not live in the house. If you want to have a conversation about having kids out of wedlock, that's one thing. But Black fathers.
What we're talking about. We're talking about.
I got
Black fathers. I just want to finish. Let me just finish. Black fathers are as present, if not more, than any other racial group. That is a fact, number one. Number two, I think it's a disingenuous argument to say that the state of the Black family is the reason for poverty and violence. No, that is not the reason for it. I think the history in America has a lot to do, the housing market, banking, all of these different things have a lot to do with the current state economically of Black people in America. It is not simply because y'all ain't getting married.
Well, it's a big factor.
All right, can I jump in there now? Because you know,
go ahead, Uncle Sean.
These are issues here. They're not going to be resolved in a conversation, 30, of course, minute or an hour conversation. Yeah. But I will say to you that there's statistically, you know, I'm from Miami, Florida, right? And statistically, okay, when you look at the crime and the violence in our community, and the head of households are led by descendants of American slave women, and you're saying that, statistically, the facts is that our men are engaged in taking care of their children, you know, Finley, I think is disingenuous for you to even say that when you see that when you see for a fact that many are.
Sean, that's not an opinion. That's a fact.
No. Listen, it's not. No. But no. My point is this here. It is obvious that our fathers, our men, are not in the lives of young men in homes of today. Look at the violence and the stuff that's in our community. The lack of men.
What I'm saying is, it's not a debatable fact when it's measurable. Statistically, it's a thing. They have article after article about the myth of the missing Black father. That's a fact.
My point is this here. But brother, look at the disparity in our community, and who is it being head by? It's being head by our women. Where are the men, the fathers in those households? Please, you tell me, where are they at?
Black dads, whether they live with their children or not, are more actively involved in their children's lives than their counterparts of other races.
Well, they doing a damn poor job, brother.
And how
wait, let's go back.
How's that working?
What's that source?
So they're involved, but we're not doing a good job. Like, I'll put it like this. Perfect example. I have never been married to my daughter's mother. She is 21. Statistically, she would fall into the category of, by these statistics, me not being there. I have been in my daughter's life from day one, but I'm not going to show up in certain statistics that only measure fathers married to their children's wife or children's mother and living in the house. That's why I'm saying it is a disingenuous argument, because there are, and then to say, well, because if you say that because there's violence, well, guess what? Violence is where there is poverty. Listen, in the West End, which would be, I believe, the 4th largest city in the state, if it were incorporated, we're still trying to get fresh food in that area. The economic issues, of course, there's going to be violence. There's a lack of hope. There's a lack of opportunity.
And this is going to be a conversation. We're going to have to do a part 3 on this. Adult social emotional learning, brother. Adult social emotional learning. Have you not looked that up? I've studied this, man. Let me tell you something.
I'm a pastor, so all I do is emotional social learning.
Hold up. Tim, just a minute. We are in the condition that we are in because we've been deceived into a social emotional learning. Our culture, we do not have no structure in controlling the social emotional learning of ourselves. We looking for the government and everybody else to do it for us, okay? Until we learn how to create an incubator, okay, that controls our own social, emotional learning. And when I think about the men, absent men, women being head of household, raising young men and young women up there, there are the reasons why we have poverty. There's no family. There's no home ownership. There's no equity being built. Those things matter.
Brother, where do you think that's going to, like, I got to go, you all, and we definitely have to do this again. But I think it's problematic when a people who don't have access, who are abused by a system, and this is not making an excuse, but if that is the statistic, if that is the fact, for us to turn around, and it's similar to what King talked about. We talking about pulling ourselves up by our own bootstraps, but we forgot they took the shoestrings. At some point, we got to acknowledge that you talking about doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Brother, we've been trying to pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps for a long time. At some point, we got to acknowledge that.
So then where does mindset change fit in there? Because some people make it out, right? So some people make it out.
Yes.
Tim, you made it out. You know, I made it out the hood. Uncle Mishorn, you know, they don't even know what a hood is until you go to Overtown in Miami, where you got Haitians walking around with machetes. So you don't really know about a real hood until that. I'm from Miami as well. So when you talk about coming out the hood, some people make it out. So where does mindset change fit in there? And how do we do that on a mass scale if in fact we're so sucked in by programming, ratchet TV, ratchet social media, ratchet music?
Again,
we're gonna have to do a part 3 of this.
That's a result. That's a result, Peter, of a lot of the ratchetness. Where does mindset, a person's ability to go ahead and change their mind to move forward in a different direction, where does that fit in?
But I think, again, that's two different, those are apples to oranges. I get what you're saying. Yeah, people make it out. People, you know, LeBron made it out. Oprah made it out. Remember,
don't Donald use Trump LeBron.
Well, the vast majority. I mean,
LeBron. Hold on. LeBron was good with the I Promise School, but then he said something we didn't like about Kyrie, and now he's just the worst.
Yeah, but the vast majority
concept says create your own bootstraps.
Create your own bootstraps. John, y'all hit it right. You know what? You know, and I'm gonna have to leave too because we're at that 10:30 point. I'm gonna tell you something. And you know, I haven't said it, so I gotta leave before I go. I got my bootstraps in the military. Okay. Yes. I said it. I learned how to develop my own bootstrap. Okay. And thank God my mother put me in the military and showed me how to, because when I came back in this civilian sector, Tim, this community was already operating a certain way before I got here.
I want to make sure I'm hearing you all right. Can I ask before I got to go too? Are you all saying that the issue that Black people are facing in this city and in this country is centered around our inability or our unwillingness to create our own opportunities?
A combination of both, bro. I'm glad that you think a combination.
In part.
I think that's for any person. You know, we know
that's a combination of both.
That's okay.
I know you don't.
I hear you all.
I know that's pretty harsh.
No,
right?
it's not. It's not hard. Right? No, it's not hard because we've been told that. It's not hard because
Tim, I want you to tell.
You believe that with God, all things are possible.
When I arrive here in the military, from the military, zero economic stability that I am today. Zero.
Again, I just want to let me say this. Remember, I'm a guest. Y'all get to talk every week, so you can respond to this later on. I'm just gonna say this. I can get off here. I understand that there are social, familial ills in our community that we need to address. No question. But we also have to recognize we can't identify and take on and embrace this talking point that says history has no impact on much of the economic issues that we are still dealing with today. I think we need to realize
no one's saying that, Tim. No one's saying that at all.
but slavery and beyond created something that it is absolutely impacted economically the issues today.
And how long are you going to keep rolling that out? How long are you going to keep rolling that out?
And that's the thing. The past is the past. We got to start now and move forward. The past is the past. We got to start now and move forward. That is the concept.
Man, that story.
Hold. So I want to make sure that you all. I want to get this. I want to make sure I'm here. The victim kind. Oh, okay. Yeah. So we're essentially saying every economist, every individual that's looked at this and talks about the racial wealth gap, it's because we ain't willing to work harder. The wealth gap in this country.
Willing to change our mindsets.
The economists have said this. Again, I'm not giving you all opinion.
Well, I mean, Timothy, come on now. Because you're talking about liberal conservatives. Left wing liberal economists, not all economists.
I haven't finished the statement yet. So how do you know what I'm saying?
Okay, let him finish, Speedy. He's a guest.
Well, you just said economists. It's like,
I said economist. I said economist, and I didn't finish what I was saying.
Go ahead, Tim.
I'm saying economists, multiple economists, have shown that the size of the racial wealth gap cannot be narrowed unless there is a restorative action that takes place going back to the effects of slavery. That is not an opinion. That is based on math, numbers. The wealth gap right now will not change because it is too wide. The chasm is too great. All I'm saying is, if what's going on now, from housing to banking to all of these different things, if it's where it is now, then at what point do we acknowledge we didn't put ourselves in this position, and we can work real hard and get our family together and get the white picket fence, but that is not going to solve what's going on and what's continuing to go on as it relates to debt, as it relates to all these different things. You all sound great. I get you. Work hard. I learned in the military. All these that's good. But there's a much bigger issue in this country. And that wealth gap, we can't ignore that. It is what it is.
So I challenge you. So since Asian Americans are number one, they run the country. What are you talking about?
Asian Americans was never in slavery in America.
Yeah, but they're not.
Slavery was about economics. Are we really comparing black people?
So I guess when you look at that, what Peter's trying to say is they've been able to come over, just like the Latino community has now become the second-class citizens in America. They've been able to come over and whoop our asses economically. Now, I want to put this out there. Proverbs 18:20, from the fruit of their mouth, a person's stomach is filled. With the harvest of their lips, they are satisfied. The tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. So when you think about that, again, the power to speak things into existence. If we keep talking the same old stuff, then we're going to keep getting the same old stuff.
From a preacher, read that in context. and then bring me back on, because I want to hear it from a preacher. Read before that and read after that. From a preacher. And secondly,
the black church is one of the big problems in America. So that's a whole other subject. The black church and the chicken-eating, fornicating preachers are one of the big problems.
Oh, y'all! Oh, Peter.
Okay, all right, Peter. Just
I've worked with the preachers for 40 years.
Is this what y'all on?
Chicken-eating, fornicating black preachers.
Peter, that is a disrespect. Wait. No, we can't. No.
Hey.
And you know who I'm talking about, Finley. You know the preachers in Louisville, and I've worked with preachers all over America.
How are you all allowing a white man to tell a black man?
I'm not a white man. I'm a man.
Is a chicken-eating black church? Are you now? Hold on. Are you kidding me?
Chicken-eating, fornicating.
You do know the name of this show, right? You do know the name of this show, right?
Truth be told,
you know, this is a grown man show.
How many
No,
preachers
no,
in
no,
Louisville
you
have
right.
children out of wedlock?
Chicken. I just want to make sure I hear this. So when we get offline, I want to make sure I can sit with this. Peter Hayes told a black man, a black preacher, one of the big problems is a chicken-eating black church.
And I learned that from Reverend James Bevel, Dr. King's associate. That's
And you know,
all right, y'all have a good day.
Hey, Tim, before you get off, hey, Tim,
that's wild.
Hey, Tim, before you get off, I just want you to know, poverty pimping preachers is what I've been dealing with since I arrived here, bro. And if
what you've been dealing with are white men who are telling you that you're the issue. That's what you've been dealing with.
Oh, no,
and you just heard about a chicken.
We don't use skin color because we're not white supremacist racists.
That's crazy. I'm good. Listen, y'all my brothers. I love you all. God
that's
bless
a wild
you.
statement. I say that. That is definitely a wild statement.
I don't care what the name of the show is. That right there is gonna be a problem. A white man on y'all show just said a chicken eating church.
But see, this is the problem. Tim, here's the problem with you keep saying that.
I gotta get a haircut. Y'all be blessed.
Okay, just one last thing.
Hold on. Appreciate you.
Here's just one last Tim, hold up. Just one last thing.
Okay.
Peter Hayes is a man. Peter Hayes is a man just like Ye had the right to say what he needed to say about the Jewish community and what they've been telling. He's a man to say. Now, we got put off a WLOU. Now, listen. We got put off a WLOU because of some things that were said. And my point is this here. We have to be willing to embrace the conversation.
What I'm saying. You don't have to school me on freedom.
We will have a dialogue and embrace the conversation.
Brother. You don't have to school me on having the ability to have the freedom to say what you want to say. That's what America's all about. We get that. You don't have to school me on that.
So but also come back to the next time. Just come back the next time. Let's have a conversation about it.
As I tell young people, you have the freedom.
Have a conversation.
I got you. You have the freedom to say it, but you also have the freedom to have those consequences. And I just said that's a wild statement, but it's cool. If y'all good with it, if y'all good, y'all good. I'm good, y'all good. Okay,
I'm good with it. And there's people out there, and there's people out there like esoteric concepts that says, but wait, that's a true statement. You know,
no. Listen, there's going to always be people that will side with one side or this. I get it. I'm not tripping. I'm just saying, for me, that's a wild statement. That's all. But we all big boys here, and we deal with what we say.
So you don't need
it. Truth be told,
you don't know any chicken-eating, fornicating preachers in Louisville.
Yeah, I know a lot of them. A lot of them look like you.
Yeah, exactly.
But you didn't. But you didn't talk about. You said black. You said black. We ain't gonna.
And it's a further discussion because
No, listen.
The black
I don't
church
even
is such a prevalent institution.
Listen, you dropped the mic, brother. No, you dropped the mic. We're good on that discussion.
All right.
Well, I mean, I guess, we were talking about the state of the black community.
You can't handle it.
But we all know that white people love chicken too. So let's stop playing. White people do love chicken and watermelon and iced tea as well. So
no, I'm just
the only one getting emotional about that conversation is you, Tim.
All right. Well, I'm getting emotional. I've never been accused of that. But I'm saying you may find out that for some reason, that kind of racist trope is not good. Like, are y'all? I mean, what?
And I agree, but at the same time, I feel like we need to embrace certain things, especially perspectives of how other communities look at us, so that we can focus on trying to change things ourselves. I don't want to be looked as that.
You don't think we know that white people think we eat chicken and watermelon? You don't think we know that? They've been saying that for 400 years. The ice cream problem. We know that.
The main thing in that statement
really
is
bothers
the fornicating preachers. That's a problem.
No, brother, but you said one of the biggest problems in America is the black church and the chicken-eating, fornicating black preachers.
In the community, you were talking about some of the problems, and I said you said in the black church a big problem is you got way too many chicken-eating, fornicating preachers.
May the Lord watch.
And
between
the
the
churches
MDs,
are full of single moms.
one from another.
The churches are full of single
Jesus members,
moms with no fathers in the
amen.
church, no fathers
No
in the
All
fathers.
right, brother
home.
Tim. We'll see
All
you
right,
next
bro.
time.
All right, Tim.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
you, bro.
All right. So let's go down some of these comments real quick before we move on. I wanna look at some of this. Talking about the education. I homeschooled my children and grandchildren, including sharing edutaining our communities. I cannot depend, rely on, or expect the few that rules the many institutionalized racist regime to educate my children with the truth of our geniuses, the truth about our great kingdoms that created great civilizations and wealth of this nation. And the wealth of this nation comes from the blood, sweat, tears of our ancestors whose backs, shoulders we stand on. We must Sankofa go back and fetch what is lost and bring it forward. Let's see. A couple other Black Lives or BLM is a Democratic talking point. Pay close attention to those that push that BLM shit along with pushing the vaccine on its own people, especially as we see the results of all the falsehoods of that thing. Right on, Peter Hayes. We will have a justice, liberty, and advocacy forum. Give global interventions ventures in education, holiday blitz, healthy lifestyles. Please show up and come out to engage and learn. So definitely want to see that justice, liberty, and advocacy forum with that there. Create your own bootstraps. Let's see here. And again, come on out and all of that. New vision of upliftment, enlightenment, and tools, and new shoestrings to boots. Good stuff there. And again, I think the point here, Proverbs 18:20, the power of life and death is in the tongue. You speak, you think things into existence. So if you want to go religious and jump into the Bible is all about universal laws and how you speak and think things into existence. But there's not many pastors out there that preach that. I know Pastor Keith Carter across the bridge. Pastor Keith, he preaches that. He talks about the speaking and thinking things into existence. The wealth gap can only be changed if the white man gives us something. FOH, fuck out of here. Poverty is a mindset. And
right.
LOL. Chicken eating church.
Eating churches.
Right on, Timothy Finley. This is at its core of to give solutions to close the economic gap, educational gap, food desert gap, healthy disparity gap. Tierra Alexandra, she says that was disrespectful and unacceptable concerning Peter's comment. But then Esoteric Concept said, but wait, that's a true statement. Coming back to that, speak truth to power. We will school each other with respect and love. We must disagree agreeably with the truth. We must not judge one another or we will be judged unjustly. Absolutely. So, to close it out, what's your thoughts, Peter?
Well, we got a little bit off. The election, today's election day. It is important.
Definitely.
For. I'm going to, after this show, go out and vote right now. But it's interesting. Some of the core issues we've been talking about as marriage and family that was being disputed. And Tim's a good brother. I like him and all, but we hit a soft nerve when we talked about these preachers because he's one of them. And he said his own story as he has got a daughter not married, and so maybe
not married.
Yeah, and the reality is I've worked all over America for 40 years and, the church, and it is different. To be honest, I've been to every European church, Hispanic church, and African-American church there is. There is a different culture where fornication happens in the European American churches, Hispanic, but it's not acceptable. Where fornication, even among the preachers and deacons, is not always acceptable, but a lot of times it's acceptable much more, and proof is in the pudding when you see the rampant children born out of wedlock and lack of marriage, and it comes from the spiritual leadership. And, that's a tough, that's tough to hear, but, I stand by it. And I learned it from Reverend James Bevel, who called the preacher, specifically chicken eating, fornicating preachers. And he claimed in the Courier Journal on the front page that the number one issue in the Black community was not white racism, but fornication. And he was quoted, and I totally agree. My experience is fornication is the number one problem in the DAS African American Black community, not white racism. Is there white racism? Yes, but it's not the number one issue. But the liberal mindset is, yeah, it's white racism is the number one issue. It's all encompassing. And until we solve that, we're never going to be able to compete with other folks. And I think that's just crazy because you're never going to solve, you know, in our lifetime, white racism or any type of racism. Yeah. And the fact that we're using skin color to define people, that is the definition
Well,
of
that's
race.
what Peter. That's where I want to. What I wanted the immediate thing, instead of him addressing the issue that maybe what you said was a little, over the top. The first thing he wanted to say, you guys allow this white man to say this on this show.
Exactly.
I can't believe that y'all have said that. That was my immediate issue with what he made a statement about. Okay. The fact he had to see you as a white man to make a statement like that, instead of you being a man who made a statement about something that you feel that was important, is the issue. The reason why I say that, because I navigate in the dominant European culture among people, and I'm usually the only one there, okay, that look like me. And what I make them always understand, I am not the black man talking. I'm just a man with a humanity that got a concern about some things that needs to be talked about. And the reason I do that, to make them understand that, is because I don't want them to say, oh, the black man got on. No. I have issues as a humanity, okay, that I'm concerned about some things that are not being talked about or we're not discussing and everything. And just because it's coming out of my mouth, I don't want you to see me first as black. And again, that happened with me, the Courier Journal. The first time when I arrived here and I got interviewed, the Courier Journal, Joe, they loved the issue that I was talking about, but you know what she wanted to say? She said, well, I'm going to report you as a black community leader that's speaking about this. And I said, no, ma'am, no, you won't. I said, you will not report me as a black community leader. I said, I am a man who's a leader in this community, and you can't report me as just a concerned citizen that live in this community. Don't report me at all. That's what, though.
Yeah.
She reported me at all. She didn't, because she wanted to report me as a black man. Okay. That's saying it. And I told her, I don't want you to report me as a black man. I said, I'm just a concerned citizen that live in this community that got an issue about this. And I'm just telling you my point of view. Leader. That's all I am. Don't report me as a black leader. I'm not a white leader. I'm not none of that. I'm just a damn leader in this community that got some damn concerns. You see where I'm going with that, Joe? That's
I mean, I definitely understand. And you're right. You could spit out a whole bunch of things that are harmful, but then somebody gets stuck on one of the smallest of
the smallest
in a statement, and that's the point, because the bigger issue would be the fornication and such like that. But I think it's difficult for a lot of people to hear, especially from a person of Caucasoid persuasion. It's difficult for them to hear some truths. And you guys know that most people in general, the number one thing they're afraid of is a mirror. You know what I mean? So with that in mind, when we really look at this, I think ultimately when we as a people can look at truth, look at it in its face and accept it, only then can you move forward, right? Because as you know, you go to AA
Right.
Anonymous or any type of drug anonymous type
Right.
of thing, you first got to accept that you have a problem before you can actually
Right.
move. It's
Exactly.
like the first step,
I'm
right?
an
You got to,
alcoholic. I'm a drug addict.
That's the first step.
exactly. You got to accept that you have a
First
problem
step.
first. And the reality is that we know how we got here.
And debt elimination.
We know how we
Right.
got here. We know about the past. We know what got us here.
Right.
And it may not have
Right.
been our fault, but it is our fault
Right.
if we continue perpetuating
Thank you.
that problem.
Thank
and so
you.
we have
Thank
to, at
Joe,
some
here's
point, look
a
at
good
ourselves
example.
and say, hey, we got to fix us because it's
and
our
Joe-
problem. And then we can look at moving forward.
And Joe, this is a good example. So you got a
Exactly.
dude sitting at home who's an alcoholic, watching TV, not working, and his woman is the problem. And he insists that until his woman change, and he will get right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
the same thing.
Go ahead,
The
Michelle.
the same thing. And I'm gonna go back, okay, back on myself, right? Here I am, turned 62 in January. Before I got to 62, and I posted yesterday, I'm getting ready to start receiving my Social Security and everything, and I'm able to move forward. I'm gonna walk away from my job at the end of this month. At the end of December, I'm gonna be able to walk away from my job and be able to go ahead and start collecting my Social Security. I'm getting retirement and everything. Let's go back. Let's back that up. Before I got here, I had, and I'm gonna be personal. I had a credit score below 500. Okay, when my wife met me, okay, because I was coming out of a bankruptcy and everything with my first wife and everything. I had to file over $207,000 bankruptcy and everything. And I was living in a guy's apartment I was living in a guy's house. In his guy's apartment. We were sharing a house. Sharing an apartment together. When she met me, that's how I was living. Okay. And even though I was, making decent money, but I was paying out $800 in child support to my first wife and everything. Now, reason why I bring that up, I had to change me, Sean. Okay. All the crap the white people might have done, all the racism, whatever, what my mama did prior to that and all that stuff, until I sat down with me, Sean, and started to get my debt under control, learning how to go out here and work and learning. And when I married Jackie and we got our back, we bought a home, with equity and all those things happened. That's what led to where I'm at today. But who did it start with? Me, Sean. Does that make sense? We constantly want to talk about what somebody else has done to it. Oh, slavery. Could I use slavery? Could I say, oh, yeah, did it happen to my family? Yes, I could go all day long and talk to my family and everything because of slavery. But the end results, who had to move their life and get their life in order 30, 40 years prior to now? Me, Sean. Okay? Not somebody else. Yeah. And that's the problem, that so many of us do not want to look at ourselves first. What are you doing? That's my truth. What are you doing? What are you doing to try to move yourself? Andy used to say it all the time. I love Andy. Andy used to say it all the time. How you living and how's it working for you? We actually should put that on the t-shirt. How you living and how's working
and how's it working for you? I think that ultimately when we really look at this, I can talk about an example of a relationship that I've seen where a woman has gone from thinking very poor-minded, having a poor mindset, right? Always pointing the finger elsewhere, always saying it's somebody else's fault. Oh, never being accountable to themselves and the part that they play in a situation, but always pointing elsewhere, which always leaves you a victim, which always says, if they didn't do this, then I will get. I've seen a relationship where a woman has come into play and have that mindset, meet a man with a mindset totally in opposition of that, saying, hey, I can, we can, I'm the problem, let me fix me. And then I've seen that relationship grow and seen the mindset of the woman change. Why? Because the fruits are there of what it looks like when two people come together and do what you should be doing: build, create, correct, focusing on being better altogether. I've seen what that looks like in someone's relationship, where those two people come together and then they're growing and they're building and they're moving up, and those conservative views are there. It just so happens that they have those conservative views more so now, because you get to look back and see, wow, look at where I came from. Look at all that crap that these people are going through, and then this is the mindset, the victim mindset that they have. Look at all that I used to be. You see what I'm saying? So exposure is everything. It takes a person to step outside of a situation, look at something, and with some eyes to where you're not judging. Just look at it and step outside of it, but look at it. And that is sometimes one of the only ways that a person is going to mentally make it out of a situation,
of the condition that they were born into. Exactly. And another word to put on that, Joe, is called be willing to look for the measurable results. Okay.
Exactly.
People use that word enough, but you have to be willing. It's called sometimes baby steps, but you got to see measurable results. Okay. If you keep repeating the same thing with no measurable results, then you have to change something until you get what? Measurable results. Measurable results.
Yes. And in America, if you...
that being said...
in America, you do three simple...
I know Michon's about to have to go, but go ahead, Peter. Go ahead, speak your truth.
Just in America, if you do three simple things, you have a 96% chance of staying out of poverty. Graduate from high school, get a job, any job, and wait till you're married to have kids. That's not asking a lot. That's doable for anybody. I grew up in foster homes and crazy situation. I've seen my family members that haven't done that and they're struggling. And then I've seen family members that have done that. Actually 3 of our 6 kids went the wrong way, and 3 of the 6 kids went the right way. And the 3 of the 6 that did those 3 things are successful. The 3 of 6 who didn't are not successful.
Yeah. And this is, and we're gonna leave out with this. Right on, Brother Kingman. Truth must be told, no matter how it hurts. We must take control of our own healing, our own reprogramming, our own empowerment. Take back your God-given divine power. It starts with you going inside and looking within. Look deeply inside your own mirror of your soul to change your life. And that is the absolute truth. We can't keep sitting around and hitting the same talking points saying it's their fault. When are you going to make the fault your own? Because only then will you have the mindset to move forward. So let's
even if it's not your fault, what's the alternative?
Exactly, and that's the truth. What is
they say everything they say? It's 100% white people's problems. Okay, so what? What are you going to do? Wallow and wait for those?
I'm not going to sit around and wait for you to fix my problem.
Yeah,
I'm going to focus on me fixing my problem, and if it's harder to do because of my lack, then I'm going to keep doing it over and over until I get it right.
I guess they think if they bitch and moan enough, at white people are going to change. Good luck with that.
Okay, no, not happening. Go ahead, Michon. We're gonna close
Peter, if you remember when we had the focus, you remember when we had the focus show. This is not the first time Peter and I actually been on these conversations, and people come on saying the same. I hear the same thing over and over and over. And one of the things, and I like what John Yard said, he hit it right up. Literally, I think we said it back then, the focus show. Yes, somebody told you had to pull up your bootstraps. But when do it become a time that you say, let me pull up my damn bootstraps? Okay. When do it get to a time that you just say,
when
what?
you're gonna go ahead and create your own bootstraps? We have to take control of that victim mentality and focus
we gotta
on
take
doing
control of
it ourselves.
Your destiny.
Right.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad because the whole liberal academia media, and I learned this from Reverend Bevel as well, they have brainwashed the leadership to put that as such a prevalence because they want the community to be crippled. Okay, they want the DAS community to be crippled, to think that the white man is God and all powerful, and you're never going to get ahead, so you just got to kowtow, and that's very, it's crippling because it's
and I guess this is probably gonna get me in trouble here with the Nation of Islam, but I don't give a damn. I was on a meeting Sunday, okay, and the Nation of Islam. I was on there with Queen and everything, and I quickly went back after we did what we did, Peter, and I went back, and that very same thing, victim mentality. It's the white man problem. White man been doing it to us, and woo, 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 woo. And then they're gonna tell me, you need to come over to the Nation of Islam and let them teach you and show you how to do it because look what they doing and this and that. And Joe, I immediately said, listen, I'm not impressed with the Nation of Islam, okay? Nation of Islam don't impress me. You haven't, what is your net worth? Peter, I want to say, what is the net worth of the Nation of Islam? You in a capitalist society. What legacy are y'all lead to the demographics of people? Yeah. Or are you keeping them in the victim mentality and everything? What are they doing to pass on a legacy beyond themselves? That's the key to I realize what's good about being an American. America is the only place that allows their citizens to select and decide for themselves how they're going to live. Now, if you live in America, whose fault is that? That is not America's fault. That's your fault, okay? If you reap the rewards and get what you need to get out of this country, then that's on you. That's the beauty of being an American. Y'all get it? It makes sense to me.
You love the victim. Yeah, John was saying you love the victim concept. Yeah, victimhood doesn't empower you. If you're a victor, what I get with these, these pastors who preach, through Christ, you can do all things are possible. Well, okay, do it. You can overcome white racism or any racism. You can overcome anything. Otherwise, you don't believe in that. With Christ, you can do all things. With God, you can do all things. So you should be able to be successful in life and be prosperous.
Philippians 1:6 says something which is one of my favorite scriptures. Philippians 1:6 says, be confident in he who began a great work in you. A lot of us don't realize that if breath was given to you by your creator, and it says, be confident in he who done good work in you. That means the creator has created you and given you life. So being confident in that. And go accomplish and achieve the things you do. Stop giving it to everybody. So I love Philippians. I pass that on to people. I haven't said that in a while. Philippians 1:6 is a great scripture, okay? Be confident in he who begun a great work in you. Life doesn't come from government. Life comes from God, okay? It doesn't come from government. It comes from God. All right,
Yeah,
fellas.
our
All
form
right,
of
fellas, we're
government
gonna get
was
out of here. We definitely got some more show to talk about with this conversation. I'm gonna close out with a little bit of James Bevel's last sermon from his deathbed. We'll close out with a little bit of that, and y'all can listen in if you like. But until next week, it is the Truth Be Told show. All right, and this is some
Appreciate you, brothers.
James Bevel's acceptance of responsibility type talk.
When I was saying to God about dynamite Bob in the church, he says to me, well, because you have not done all that you are supposed to do, you are more responsible for the church being blown up than Dynamite Bob. I didn't want to accept that. That's true. And the reason I could change it and nobody else could, 10 million black males could not let them change, because I had courage to say that, Jim Bevel, you are responsible for this. I don't need to get into no other black man and no other white man. James Bevel, you are responsible for this. And that's what females don't want to say. I'm responsible for prostitution. And I'm taking my investment out of that. See, and that's what the problem is, because that's why I said it's going to be a hard one, because who wants to be on the front line with that? So you say, well, oh, that was this man, James Farmer. Name all the guys you want to name. Why couldn't they get the right to vote? And I could. See, nobody have asked that question. Am I smart? No. It's a principle employed. And when that principle is employed, it gives you the power to change. And until you bring the change, you're still responsible for the crime. I told you I loved her.
I mean, I love some people and I haven't forgiven them, I guess. I'm still angry.
Well, you don't love them yet. So you got to go deep. Once you find out that present misconduct has a historical cause, and generally the cause precedes even the birth of the person that you're mad at. That's why it's unconscious. It didn't even happen in their lifetimes. So when you start going back, that's why you identify the problem, define the problem, and start going back to the cause. And that's why Jesus said, forgive them, because they don't even know what they're doing. Their conduct, they are victims of a conduct that took place back here. They are victims of a conduct that they don't even understand its cause.